gold shields for us to all hide under. There are a total of 9, or there's a maximum of 9 people in each shield, meaning as long as everybody evenly splits up, right, everybody's safe. Our melee pool consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 people. So the one that spawns on top of the boss is for the tanks and the melee. If you are not a tank and you are not a melee, do not go in the orb or the shield on top of the boss. The rest of us need to split evenly between the other 2 circles that are going to be up. That means, like, ideally, the thing is, we can't call marks and I can't call locations because there's things that are going to make us move. So you just have to kind of like look at who's standing in there, and if it's already a whole pile of people, like, try to go to the next one. Like, usually it kind of works out as long as we spread out around the room and we're all prepared to like collapse to a spot, we should be good. And the other way we can mitigate this too is by having a handful of people, like people with tanks and people with tanky cooldowns, stay out so that they can survive. So for example, I'm not going to go in the first shield. I'm going to take advantage of my ice block. I'm not going to go in the second shield. I'm going to take advantage of my cauterize and pray, and then blink into a shield at the end. But no, maybe I do go into a second shield. But I can play by ear and potentially utilize those cooldowns and those safety nets to survive the outgoing damage and reduce the number of people running to bubbles. So if you have something that significantly reduces damage, I'm not talking about like something that's only like a 30% reduction. That's going to be pretty difficult to heal you through. I'm talking like 40% plus in general, or something that makes you completely immune. So for that first one, I'm going to take a couple ticks, and if I don't cauterize and I'm at like a sliver of HP, I'm going to pop my ice block, and I'm going to ride out the last few seconds of it in the ice block, then I'm going to get out of the ice block, and that's how I'm going to survive it. So you got to use your abilities cleverly, and if you're like using a defensive cooldown that reduces damage, you should be popping your health stone if you're going to try to soak. Okay, so that's how we mitigate this that's all this phase is about, but this mechanic's important because we do it later on, and it's long enough away that you can use those long cooldowns in the first phase and then use them again in the final phase when he will be doing this ability again. However, the way the arena changes and the way things change, you may be in a position where you're going to be stuck using a cooldown to survive, right? So that's why I'm giving you all this, like, if you have something to survive it, try it here, figure it out, because you might have to do it again later on. Okay. The second platform is a platform across the way. He'll fly over. We get silence when we step into the pool below. So we need to use things that increases the raid's movement speed. So druids here. We can have Lunabelle first use the feral charge on the raid for the first go over, and then Madwitch or Abuda for the second go over. And then we have whoever didn't pop it on that second round, we have one hanging out that we can use. Okay, but that we should only need it twice. We'll use it. We run down the stairs, across the room, onto the other platform, and interrupt his cast before he wipes the raid. When we get there, it's a whole new mechanic. It's spiraling gold rings that come out of the boss. So what you need to do if you're melee, the most important thing is operate at maximum melee range. He has a very large hitbox. Just keep backpedaling until you can't auto attack him anymore, and then take one step forward. This is going to give you the space you need to dodge the gold ring. I can tell you from tanking it, I did not have to move very much to avoid these gold rings that we'll be seeing in phase 2. I just merely sidestepped a little bit and kind of looked for gaps of where it was going to be, less so much the ones that were on top of me, and I was able to give myself a path on each rotation where I was able to completely avoid damage. So it's a spiraling gold ring out from the boss. They're little gold circles that spiral out from the boss. You'll see it. You'll completely understand what I mean when you see it. And that's phase 2. Phase 3, when we get to the third platform, he does a mind control. So essentially, whenever he's going to mind control, we need to all be aware of that, and we all need to stack up on top of the boss so that we can hit the entire raid as quickly as possible and break the people out of mind control who have been mind controlled. I don't think it's the whole raid. I think it's a handful of people. We have to clear 50% of their HP, or they're going to stay mind controlled and kill us all, and that's horrible. So yeah, so we just need to stack up right before mind control and then spread back out. The final mechanic is a mechanic that's persistent through all 3 phases, and this is what we need our tanks to be aware of. What we're going to do is we're going to have Mixed Dagger holding the boss primarily, and we're going to have Z on the exhale duty unless something goes horribly wrong, and then we have Crypt to step in for exhale duty as well. And essentially what's going to happen is that the boss is going to pick one person throughout the raid and exhale, and when he's exhaling, we need the tank to stand between him and that player to soak the exhale. Okay, so if you are the target of exhale, or you see a beam crossing the room to a player, you need to stay the fuck away from that beam, or stay rooted so that your tank can come to you and receive and like get the exhale. Okay, and that's the whole fight, because all of those pieces come together in the final form in the middle of the room. He goes full friggin' Frieza, assumes a final form, and we're dodging the gold rings. We're dealing with the gold bubbles and jumping into them. They're separate abilities, so they're not going to happen at the same time necessarily. So there's going to be gold rings on the floor. There's going to be the places to go to safety, and you can kind of like, sometimes they overlap, and you can use the gold bubble thing for the other thing, which is neat. And then the final thing, the mind control, 5 people are going to get mind controlled. So we need to spread out, make sure we're spread out around the room, and we're having ranged, especially switching to mind controls immediately, and melee, you're going to peel off the boss and go break those mind controls. Like, we just need to break the mind controls when they happen and then get back to business on the boss. And we bloodlust, and we try to do it as quickly as we possibly can. There's a bot down if you need to repair. It's marked with a square. Best way to do this, though, is to just get at it.